Speaking Part 7, Expressing Opinions, Tips and Strategies. Question notes. Question complexity. This question is more for CLB 7 or higher. That's because you have a more difficult situation to understand. So sometimes it's hard to understand what you need to do, and it requires more vocabulary knowledge. Conditionals and modals important. Using modals of advice, possibility, and necessity will help you answer this question better. Advice, use should, would, or could. Possibility, may, might, or could. Necessity, have to, need to, and must. Conditionals, if and when. Organize and use all of your time. Important to follow order and try to speak for the full minute. Avoid repetition. Follow sequence of ideas. And the more you speak, the better. Understanding the question and preparing. Understand the issue of the question. What is the main issue? Why is it difficult? Usually, a do you think this is good or not good question, or a question asking, what do you think about a topic? Why would you say no? For what reasons? Why would you say yes? For what reasons? Can be a question asking for only reasons. You can take notes. You will be given a notepad. Write 2 ideas. Use words, not full sentences. You can write notes in your language. The notes will not be graded. Put yourself in the situation. Imagining the context visually and putting yourself in the situation can improve your understanding. How do you feel about this topic? So here we are in a sample speaking task 7, expressing opinions. You can see your preparation time and your recording time up here. And then we have the question over here, and we have the timer over here. So, first thing, of course, is we need to understand very clearly what the topic
Start speaking now.
of the question is. And when you need to start speaking, it'll say start speaking now. So, as it mentions in our guide, do you think is a common type of question. Do you think this is good or not good? But other questions can be, what do you think? For example, here it says, do you think that learning a subject online is more effective than learning in a face-to-face classroom? That's, do you think one is better than the other? So yes or no, agree, disagree. Or it could be, what do you think about learning a subject online? It could be that, just what do you think about that? So that would be more about give your opinion. Here it's more, do you agree that one is better than the other? It's still your opinion, but it's more like yes or no, a yes no style question, okay? So we can see that the difficulty of the question is much higher than other questions because it's a difficult, complex topic about learning a subject
Time
online.
is up.
When time is over, it says time is up. Learning a subject online, is it better than learning face to face? That kind of question is very difficult to respond for lower levels. So that's why this question is more of a higher level question, meaning um, level 7 or higher. If you need to get that score, you really need to answer this question very well. Level 4 to 6, not so much. You can just say some ideas, but 7 or higher, you need to focus on this question. Organizing your response. Introduce the question. You can use, from my point of view, for some reasons I agree, but for other reasons I disagree. Or I think this is good and not good. Or, in my opinion, I think. Give your first idea. First of all, I think that I agree or disagree, or the first reason. Give examples or explain. For example, this would be good because. Second idea or second side. Another important reason is that agree, disagree, or second reason. Or if the other side, on the other hand, I think that. Give examples or explain. For instance, this would be good because. Third idea. If you have time, you can give a third idea. Last but not least, I would advise to conclude if you have time. Overall, I strongly believe that. Okay, so here we're going to try to use our guide to answer this question. So, first we need to introduce the question. Again, this question sounds like it's a yes-no question. So, it's better to use, from my point of view. For some reasons, I agree that learning a subject online is more effective than learning in a face to face classroom. But for other reasons, I disagree. So, you see, that's a good way to answer this question. Also, I want to say that usually when the question is yes or no, it's always better to answer yes and no because it gives you more ideas, more things to speak about, and that will increase your speaking time. You don't have to. You can say, from my point of view, I think that learning a subject online is more effective than learning in a face-to-face classroom. Or, in my opinion, I think that learning a subject in a face-to-face classroom is better than learning a subject online. So you can say one side. Just I always think that two, when you have agree, disagree, or two sides, it's better to say both. It gives you more opportunity to speak. And also shows your knowledge and language skills more. Of course, this is for higher levels. So now we go to the first idea. So, first of all, I agree because I think learning a subject online is very convenient. For example, there's an idea, and I gave that idea, it's very convenient. So then I should explain why or how I think it's convenient. So that sounds like an example I need. For example, students can learn from their homes or even from their workplaces. I need to say why it's convenient or how, okay? Or I can change that. I can say, first of all, I think that uh, if you learn a subject online, it is more easier for students to plan their lives around education, for example. So this would be good because some students will have time to be with their families, or students can have more of a social life. So there I gave an idea that needed explanation. I was trying to show that there. Okay, so that's the first side. Now we go to the second side. So in the second side, if you want to give another reason to agree or disagree, you would just say, another important reason why online learning is better is because, and you give your reason. And then you have to explain or give an example again. Or if you want to say the other side, you can use on the other hand. On the other hand, I think that face to face classroom learning is much better than online education because, so you have to give the other side if you want to, if you use on the other hand. So either way is good again. I think though that for higher levels, it's better to show your vocabulary knowledge and your ideas by giving both sides. So again, you would give your example or you would explain. If you have a third idea, always you're keeping an eye on the time. You can say, last but not least, I think that, it's better to say here, I think that. So, I think that to give another idea. And it's always good to conclude. Overall, I strongly believe that. It's always good to say your final thought, basically, here. Okay, so there's how we can use our guide. Again, using a guide and structuring your answer is always really good for higher levels. And for lower levels, I feel it gives us some direction for answering. So try to answer with this guide in mind. Factors which influence your score. Ideas and vocabulary. The ideas and level of vocabulary determine your score. CLB 4 to 6, simple and basic ideas and vocabulary. CLB 7 or higher, the more complex the idea and stronger vocabulary, the higher the level. Fluency and rate of speech. The rate of speech is important. Try to keep speaking continuously, but not so fast. If you get stuck, move to another idea or point. Clarity. You need to speak clearly to avoid pronunciation errors. Emphasize important points clearly. Sentence construction and grammar. Complete sentences and no simple grammar errors. CLB 4 to 6 have many simple grammar errors, especially in simple present, past, and future tenses, pronouns, plural singular, and prepositions. For levels CLB 7 or higher, the important part is using higher level grammar. For example, perfect tenses, passive, modalities, and conditionals. Provide a complete response. Answer the question completely. Respond all parts of the question. How many ideas you provide increases your score. The more examples and explanation increases your score. Provide a conclusion. That is the end of Speaking Part 7, Expressing Opinions, Tips and Strategies.